So Max Holloway versus the Korean Zombie is set to be the main event tomorrow of UFC Singapore, and we are just 1 day away from seeing the utter destruction of the career that is the Korean Zombies. When we go by just pure MMA math, I mean, I know sometimes it doesn't really work like that. There's some styles, there's some matchups that can kind of change things around, but if we go purely based off of MMA math, this should be a one-way traffic, a bulldozing of a fight for Max Holloway. This is pretty much money in the bag, free cash, free money, and he gets to put down the Korean Zombie's career and send him off on, I guess, a high note. I don't know. I mean, a low note. Basically, it's not by whatever Max Holloway wants. It's basically by how badly can Max Holloway beat up the Korean Zombie. Now back to the whole MMA math sort of topic. The Korean Zombie lost to Brian Ortega pretty convincingly, and we saw Max Holloway pretty much put a whooping on Brian Ortega. I mean, he was teaching him how to strike mid-fight at one point. So, I mean, just purely based off of that, I mean, this should be pretty much an easy road, an easy sledding for Max Holloway. And then TKZ's coming off probably one of the most dominating losses in a championship fight, I think, of all time. This guy got his ass whooped, and I mean, he got it whooped pretty badly. I was cringing. It was a great performance by Volkanovski, but the entire time I was watching that fight, I was begging for it to be over. I was begging for him to put away TKZ at some point. Eventually gets it done in the 4th round, I believe, is when Volk finished off TKZ. But it was so depressing watching the Korean Zombie just get absolutely tooled up, rocked every single round, taken down, beaten up, hurt on the feet over and over and over again. It was abysmal. It was hard to watch. And him coming off of that has to hurt his confidence. It has to hurt him as a fighter inside to know that he probably won't ever be champion, won't ever be Volk. Now, fighters can be delusional at times, but I think the Korean Zombie he has a head on his shoulders. I think he knows that he got his tail end whooped by Volk, and there's not much he can do in terms of his career. It sucks that he had 3 years of military service he has to do for Korea, which sucks because we got to miss out on a lot of the Korean Zombie fights, but there's not much. There's not much. And in terms of styles, to get away from the MMA math sort of topic, to get into styles, this is the worst style to fight Max Holloway with. Max Holloway is a guy who's gonna go in there. We all know how he fights. He goes in there, he's a volume striker, not much power in his shots, but he just lands everything. He throws everything. He's an output guy. He's going to break you down through 5 rounds, and what gives him the most trouble. And when I go back and I watch some of Max Holloway's recent fights, people that gave him the most trouble are people who kick a lot, the people who move around the octagon a good bit, people who are more dynamic in their approach to their striking game. And when you have a guy like TKZ who just kind of leans his head out there, tries to slip and parry, he's mainly flat-footed. I mean, it's going to be really tough sledding. I don't see him being able to just use his head and dodge all of Max Holloway's combos. I don't see the Korean Zombie being able to move around, and maybe he has this new sort of approach. Maybe he might go out there and just change his game and try to, tailor himself to beat a guy like Max Holloway. But I don't see him to change his game to beat a guy like Max Holloway. I mean, how old is TKZ? He's in his 30s. He's getting pretty up there in age. I don't see him becoming this new guy out the block, coming out like a young fighter. Like, he's not 25 years old and might have made improvements for his time off. No, he's an old guy. And I don't see him coming in there just being this brand new style of fighter that can take it to Max Holloway. I don't see that happening. And maybe TKZ does have a huge amount of power. Like, he hits hard. But Max Holloway has a top 2 chin in the UFC. This guy does not get knocked out. He's never been knocked down in his career. He's 31, 32, I believe Max Holloway is, around that age, might be 30 years old. He's somewhere in his early 30s. He's still not an old fighter. Like, he still has some time before that chin might crack. I don't think the Korean Zombie will be the first guy that's going to hurt and put down and drop Max Holloway in the octagon. I think he just is getting a bit too old, His style is not made to beat a guy like Max Holloway. There's too many factors from his last fight with Volk that puts a real big stinky whatever in my mind. I just don't see the Korean Zombie being able to have too much success in this one. It's going to be tough sledding again. He's going to have a really hard time. And back to what I said at the beginning of the video, it's how much damage is Max Holloway going to do? Is he going to effectively put the Korean Zombie in an IC unit? Is he going to make him, I mean, not because he wants to end his career, because the Korean Zombie thinks he's done, is he going to absolutely manhandle the Korean Zombie and make him retire because the doctors said he has to retire or else he's going to have severe brain damage and not be able to live a normal life anymore? And that's terrible. I would almost prefer if Max Holloway had one punch KO power, because that might save the Korean Zombie from taking more damage in this. But Max Holloway not having any power is going to only make this worse for the Korean Zombie. He's going to put, I mean, I say at least, I'm spitballing here, I'm going to say he's going to put on at least 250 significant strikes against the Korean Zombie. He's going to absolutely beat him up, maybe even more. I mean, what's the record? Max Holloway has the records for most significant strikes in a single 5-round fight. I mean, this guy's going to put on, I mean, it's going to be so crazy. I don't want to see this. The card's at 8 a.m. I have to get up super early because I live on the East Coast of the US. I have to get up super early to watch this fight. I'm going to just watch an absolute beatdown and manhandling of this, and I don't want to watch it. I don't want to get up this early in the morning to watch the Korean Zombie's career be over. It's in Singapore, that's great, and there's other fights in the card, but at the end of the day, man, the main event is what sells every single card every weekend. And I like the Korean Zombie. I like his career. He's always been interesting. He's always been a fun fighter, but I don't want to see him go out bad. Now he'll be fine in the long run. The Korean Zombie has a huge YouTube, I believe. He's super famous over there in South Korea. He's set for life, let's be honest here. The Korean Zombie will not have any trouble making money or have any monetary disadvantages, whatever the word would be, going on in the future. I mean, the dude's a fighter first. The dude wants to fight. He's made his money, he made his career, he's made his name off of fighting it. And now it's going to be pretty much stripped away from him by Max Holloway. And I hope Max Holloway sees, maybe it's more competitive than I think, but I hope Max Holloway, I don't want to say this because this is like a really bold prediction, but I just hope that Max Holloway takes it kind of easy on him. You know, that's terrible to say. That's awful to say. And I hate predicting that for a fight because this is the UFC and things happen. But I think when you're predicting a guy who's a huge underdog to win, to beat a guy like Max Holloway, not only is the style there and all of the things that make sense, you know, if I picked the Korean Zombie, it'd be, I mean, trying to win the lottery. But the UFC typically wants underdogs that will be good for the sport to win. TKZ winning wouldn't do anything for the sport. He already lost to Volk, so there's no, you know, oh, what if TKZ fights Volk? We already seen that happen. Max Holloway also has lost to Volk, 3 times already. He's 0-3. There's nothing on the line here for the UFC. There's no benefit they get from TKZ winning. There's no helping them out. There's no getting what they want because they don't want anything from this fight. They just want to see, they're just putting on a fight for the fans. So it's going to be an absolute pretty much beatdown from Max Holloway. And I feel bad. He was crying at an interview because of the Hawaii fires. So now that makes him even more motivated. We might see an angry Max Holloway. This dude was crying, upset about his home state pretty much being ravaged by fires, and it sucks. Hawaii, you know, having all these fires sucks. So now we might see an even more emotional and angry Max Holloway going into this, just putting on an absolute beatdown. He's mad, he's angry because his people are dying in Hawaii, so he needs to take it out on the Korean Zombie. I hope that's not the case. I hope Holloway has some remorse, some human in him left, some soul left in his body. You know what I mean? He's also lost to Volk 3 times. He won't ever probably be champion again at featherweight. If Max Holloway had an excuse to really hurt and beat down on the Korean Zombie, he has all the excuses. Let's be honest here. He's upset. He's angry because he probably won't be champion again. And then his home state is getting pretty much screwed over by Mother Nature. So this guy can be as angry as he wants to be fighting TKZ. It's going to be awful. I'm scared. I'm genuinely scared for the Korean Zombie, but Max Holloway should win this pretty convincingly. Again, hopefully he has some human left in him, but I will be taking Max Holloway. I probably take him by, I'm going to say decision. Hopefully not. Hopefully by a 3rd round TKO would be nice. You know, get it nice and early. A 2nd round TKO would be just as good, maybe even better for the Korean Zombie. Hopefully it's an early finish for Max Holloway. Hopefully Max Holloway does some grappling in this. I want to see Max Holloway, you know, work on those singles and double legs and that clinch work, try to get the back at one point. See some jiu-jitsu from our boy Max Holloway so we can have the Korean Zombie take less damage overall. But that's going to be pretty much how the fight's going to go. We're going to see Max Holloway just boxing the Korean Zombie's head off for 5 rounds, most likely. I'm out of here, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video up to this point. I surely do appreciate it. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, that like button, and that bell icon for notifications as well. I would surely appreciate it. And I'm out of here. Max Holloway by 5 round beatdown decision. Peace.